Hello, everyone. Hope we are good. I'm just going to give people a couple of minutes to make sure that we are live and everyone can see us okay and hear us okay. So if you are watching on any of these live streams, please do let us know in the comments. Make sure you say hello and yeah, just let us know that you're here and watching okay. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. You'll notice in the header for this, there is a link to download a workbook. Hopefully everyone that's registered has already got access to this workbook. If you haven't, you can click that link now and you can go and download it. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to go and do that before we kick things off. But first, I'm just going to make sure that we are here and we are live and people can see us okay and hear us okay. It looks like we're live in at least one place, which is always a good start, but we're going into quite a few. So yeah, big hello in the comments would be great. I can see the comments when they come through, no matter where you are. So please let us know that you can hear us okay, see us okay. Let's go and check the other groups as well. So we're live on my profile. Are we live in the Fit Pro Launchpad group? Yes, we are. That's always a good start. We're live in there too. Are we live in the P Distinction group? Let's make sure everyone can see us in there. Okay, here is okay. Yes, looks good. Looks promising as well in there. And finally, are we live in Personal Trainers UK group? And yes, looks good like we're in there as well. So whichever group you're in, just give us a little wave, hello, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, I'm going to give people just a few minutes, if you haven't already, to download the workbook. So there is a workbook that's going to go alongside this. If you don't have access to that workbook, don't worry too much. You've got time to download it now. It is a PDF. It's completely free just to download, and we'll be working our way through that today. If you don't have access to it yet, or maybe you can't fill the PDF in or something along those lines, don't worry about it. You can just grab yourself a pen, a paper, a notepad, or anything like that and still complete this as we go through. It is going to be an interactive workshop. It should be around 60 minutes long, something along those lines. So we'll be digging into it in just a moment. But like I say, I want to give people plenty of time to turn up, get the workbook downloaded, so you can go and do that now. If you haven't downloaded the workbook and you want it, like I said, the link will be around here somewhere. You should be able to click the link and go through to it. It'll ask you for your email address to send it through. It'll ask you to confirm that email address. Once you've done that, it will send it through to you directly. So you actually have a copy of it. But like I say, if you don't have that already, it's not the end of the world. You can literally do this with a pen and paper, notepad on your computer, notepad on an iPad, phone, whatever it is. It's all completely fine. So while I wait for people to go and do that and turn up, literally only a couple of minutes, just let us know in the comments where you are listening from. I know we're going all over the place at the moment. I know we've got people registered from the West Coast of America, from the East Coast, from the UK, right over into Australia. Trying to think what time that would actually be now if it was over in Australia. So yeah, just let us know where you are in the world. Just type it into the comments. That'd be amazing to hear. I always love to see where people are actually from. And then, like I say, we'll kick into it in literally just a few minutes' time. So we've got some hellos coming on, which is nice. Nice that people are actually here. Warwickshire, that's not too far from me. Not too far from me, Mark, which is always good. If anyone's ever wondered where my accent and stuff is from, I'm from like the Midlands in the UK. So I'm like halfway between Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire. That's where I'm based from. Where Tim and Adam and them lot who run P Distinction, they're like a lot further south. So our accents are very, very different from it all. Someone's on a boat. I was on a boat not too long ago. But yeah, I got back from a boat the other day. So I was on a boat for 2 weeks floating around. Awesome. Happy days. Cool. So I think we're giving people plenty of time to dig in. Like I say, if you do have any questions as we go through this, please do let us know. Like I say, make sure you've got that workbook down. If you haven't got the workbook, make sure you've got yourself a pen, paper, or some way of taking notes. There are going to be things for you to do. There are going to be things I'm going to ask you to do to interact with in the comments as well as we go through this. So let's not waste any more time. Let's dig into it. So I'm going to bring the screen up, and hopefully let's just get rid of the banner up at the top. We don't need that on there, do we? Because you know who we are. There we go. So this is what we're going to cover today. Hopefully you can see that on the screen. We're going to be unlocking the secrets of a thriving online fitness business. That's the total aim of today's session. We're going to work our way through all the different elements that involve in actually doing that. So the first thing, as I mentioned loads of times already in this first 5 minutes, is make sure you've downloaded your workbook. It's going to make this whole process a lot easier. If you want to do this at the end, that's also fine. You can watch back this. You can watch the replay and everything else like that from it. But if you don't have that, please make sure at the very least, you have a way of making notes or taking notes or something like that. I like that. Mine is a lot smaller, referring to the boat for anyone that's actually listening to this. Cool. So what we're going to do today, the idea is to really try and understand where your business currently is and what you need to do to get it to where you want to be in order to try and create literally a thriving online fitness business. Now, as you may have heard already, I talk quite fast. If I'm talking too fast, they can just literally tell me to slow down. But yeah, I do talk quite fast. I get excited about these things. So yeah, if I'm talking too fast, just say, Ash, slow it down. We can break things down a little bit more. Where to get the link for the workbook? The link for the workbook should be in the comments or in the actual post around here. So wherever you're watching this now, whether you're watching it through the Facebook groups, through the YouTube channel, whatever it is, above this, there's some information. And it says unlock the secrets to your thriving online fitness business. And it says don't forget to download your free workbook. And there's a link there to that workbook. So if you click on that link, you'll then allow you to go and download that workbook. That's where you'll actually find it from. So you should be able to find that there. If not, just drop me a message. I can drop it into the comments if need be, and just so I know where you're actually commenting from. Like I say, we're going to lots of different places on here. And so as you go through this, the workbook will have a lot of different things in there, but if you're using a notepad or something like that, you may have to make some sketches because there are going to be some quite interactive things we're going to be doing today. So you might have to make a couple of sketches and stuff in there too. Again, it's not a major issue. The workbook's just there to go and help you. As I mentioned, well, this is obviously a live training. I want it to be interactive. So comment and ask questions as we go through. If you've got any questions whatsoever, I do have the comments open in front of me. So feel free to ask away, and I'll do my best to try and answer them as we go through. And the other thing I'd like you to do as we go through this, and what I'm hoping for anyway, is that you're going to have lots of light bulb moments where you're going to go, that makes more sense. This is something I'm not doing, or this is something I've been doing really well. This is something I need to double down on. These are going to be kind of light bulb moments. And I hope you're going to pick some of these up as we go through this. And I'd love for you to share those light bulb moments in the comments as well. So if anything kind of goes, that's a great idea, that's something I should be doing, put it into the comments and let me know as we go through this. I'd always love to hear what those moments are. And again, we can always double down those and dig into those a little bit more towards the end. Now, as we're going through this, I will have some time for a Q&A at the end as well. If anyone does have any questions, which we need to dig into more detail, we can do that towards the end. Anyone that has registered as well, so if you've set it into any of the group events we put on, or you've registered online or anything along those lines, I will send you a recording through for this as well. So for whatever reason, the internet drops out or something along those lines, you just want to refresh it, I will send you a direct link as well, so you can actually watch the recording back once the event is done, because we are going to cover quite a lot today. As you can imagine, there's obviously a lot of stages when it comes to running a successful online fitness business and making a thriving online fitness business. So yeah, there's quite a bit to cover. So I'm not expecting you to take it all in one go. And also throughout this workshop, we're going to be sharing lots of free resources as well. A lot of those links for those resources are going to be in that workbook. So do make sure you download that at some point. Even if you don't do it now, make sure you do it at some point, because there's a lot of links to resources that will actually be in there as well. And then at the end, I'll also be sharing something pretty amazing with you as well that we've actually been working on. So lots of cool things happening over the next, what will be about 51 minutes now from there. So let's dig straight into it in that case. The first thing I want to talk about with you is the MAS system. So M.A.S.S, the MAS system. And this is the first step of any successful business. And it's about having the 4 foundational areas installed into your business. And there's 4 key areas that you need really to kind of grow and develop any kind of business. And that is mindset, action, systems, and support. That's exactly what MAS stands for. So I just want to dig into these just a little bit. And again, if you've got the workbook, you can work your way through this now. This is going to be on page 3 of the workbook. And just you can kind of fill in the blanks to make sure you get an understanding of what each of these different areas are. And then we're going to start breaking these down even more as we go through this workshop. So the first thing here is mindset. Before you do anything within your business, you need to understand that it is hard. It's going to take hard work. There's nothing easy about it. I'm sure many people here who are now starting an online fitness business, or maybe have been running it for a while, the chances are they've come from some other kind of business, doing something in person, in face-to-face PT and that kind of thing. And it takes hard work, and it's exactly the same online. Sometimes it's made out to be easy. Sometimes it's made out to be a quick fix. I can assure you it's not. I would argue to say it's probably harder to run an online business than what it is to run a face-to-face business. I don't know if anyone here listening agrees with me or not. Let me know in the comments whether you do or if you don't, but I believe it is. And I believe there's more skills involved. There's more knowledge involved when it comes to running an online business successfully. And that's why mindset comes into play, because unless you have a true understanding of exactly where you want to go with this business, what you actually want to use this business for, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to push through when times get hard, because that is going to happen. There's going to be things you're going to have to do that you don't want to do. There's going to be things that you really think, oh, this is just becoming too difficult now. This is becoming too relentless. And it's this time where you really got to dig deep and push through it. And to do that, you need to understand exactly what your business is for, because your business is only a tool to help you achieve the things you want in life. That is all it is. If your business is not helping you achieve the lifestyle you want or the things that you want, then what is the point of doing it in the first place? What's the point of all the hard work? So make sure you actually do really think about what you actually want this for and get yourself in the right headspace. Probably do this with your clients all the time when it comes to weight loss or putting muscle or body transformation or health or whatever it is. Exactly the same thing is happening in your business. And I can see here from the comments as well that a lot of people do agree. We got, yep, it's harder. Yes, I agree. Certainly harder to get going. Definitely, yes. I think once momentum's going, you have the systems and stuff in place, it can become easier. And I do think it does become easier eventually than face to face. But actually getting going and getting that stuff in place is very, very difficult to start off with. And so, yep, down here as well, I do both. And online is definitely harder. Yes, I would agree with that as well. Definitely a lot more involved with it. Hopefully, if people are watching this now and they're new to this and thinking, oh, Ash, like you literally put me off doing online training here, don't be put off by it. The benefits it can give you when you get it right are absolutely incredible. But I think it's important that you understand from the offset that it does take hard work, and it's important that you understand what it is you're actually doing this for in the first place. So let's go on to A, which is action. So now you know the what and the why. It's time to take action on it. So don't wait around. I always say to people, do something today that's going to take you closer to that goal. And whatever it is, just make sure it takes you one step closer. That's the key thing for any day. If you can wake up and say, right, I've taken one step closer, even if that's just a little shuffle closer towards your goal, it means you're at least going in the right direction. And that's the key thing here. Again, many of you have probably said this and spoken to your clients in a similar way. Exactly the same principle when it comes to your business. You really have to take action and just take those steps and move closer to your goals as you're doing it. So big thing. That's the big thing about today as well. I want you to try and be action takers. So everything I'm asking you to do today, the activities we're going to go through, please make sure you just take action. It doesn't have to be perfect. Imperfect action, I'm sure you've heard many, many times, is going to be the key to being successful here. So, but just take that action and start moving forwards. Next up is systems. Without systems, you may end up doing 10 times the work you need to do and drastically reduce your ability to scale. And one of the things we're going to do a little bit today, but you should be doing anyway, is start looking at your day to day and see what you can systemize, automate, and outsource. And having the right systems in place is going to make it so much easier for you. And in fact, I think down here, someone mentioned earlier, it's certainly harder to get going when it comes to with online training. One of the advantages further down the line is when you have the systems in place, it actually becomes easier to manage than face to face. But that's all down to the systems that you have in place, and they are extremely important to get those right. And the last one down here is support. I mean, I've never ran a business without support ever, whether that's just been from family, whether that's through staff, through VAs, through coaches, through building a team, all that kind of stuff I've never done on my own before. I've always had somebody there, even if it's just a partner in relationship supporting you. It makes a difference than being completely alone in it. And I think that's one of the key foundations of any good business, to make sure you have a good support network around you. Whether that is, like I've said there, it could just be family, it could just be friends, it can be a coach, it can be a course, it can be somebody you're outsourcing stuff to, it can be staff, it can be your team, it can be your VAs, whatever it is. I just think it's important to have that support around you when you need it. So a little activity for you to do on here. I want you to turn to page 4 of the workbook if you have access to it. If not, you can just do this on a piece of paper and write it down. So very quickly, I'm only going to spend I literally want to spend 30 seconds on each of these. I want you to do the first thing that's going to come to your mind when I ask you these questions. So with a mindset, like, what are your limiting beliefs? What's actually holding you back? If you're sat here now thinking about developing your business, I'm guessing if you're here now, you're interested in trying to help your business thrive more online. I want you to ask yourself, what's holding you back now? What is actually holding you back from where you want to be? And if you know what you're in business for, as we talked about earlier, if you know what your purpose is, if you know what your worth is, which I'm hoping many people here do, and if you don't, that's not a problem. We can answer that question now. You can even write down here like what you're actually in business for in the first place, if you want to. But if you know what that is, write down what your limiting beliefs are. You don't have to share it in the comments or anything like that. Just literally write it down on the space given for you in the workbook. And once you've done that, literally, 20, 30 seconds. First thing that comes to mind, you can dig deeper into this in the future if you want to, is action. Like, so is this fear holding you back? Like, are you looking for perfection? Do you know what action you need to take and what you need to take that action with? And what I want you to do here is just write down, is it actually holding you back? Are there certain things that you're doing in your business, or you know you should do in your business, that you're just putting off? I want you to really truly think about it and be honest with yourself. Again, you don't have to share this. This is just for you. No one else is going to see this. But I want you to write down the things that you know, and most people do. Most people know the things they need to do in order to start pushing those barriers forwards, those steps forwards. And that's what I want you to do here. I want you to write down that what is it that you should be taking action on, or you know you should be taking action on every day, every week, every month, or whatever it is, but you're just not doing it. I want you to write them down in there for me as well. And again, you'll know this with your clients. I'm sure many of you have done this with your clients before. Let's take weight loss as an example. If you have a weight loss client and you go to anybody, you ask them what you need to do to go and lose weight. Most people will be able to tell you how to do it. It's not the fact they don't know how to do it; it's the implementation of that. And it's about trying to find out why that client hasn't implemented the things they need to do. And that's what we do as coaches. Exactly the same principle here. Most people know the basic fundamentals of the things they actually need to do. And there's probably going to be one or two things that maybe you know you need to do in your business right now that you're just not doing them for a number of different reasons. So just write those down there for me. Next up is going to be the systems. Like, currently, what systems do you have in place? Do you have things in place at the moment that allow you to scale out limits? And do you know what systems you need? And again, in this section here, and we are going to dig into this as we go through this workshop, we're actually going to look at all the key systems you need to be successful and thrive in your online fitness business. We're going to do that today during this workshop. But for now, I want you to do is I want you to write down what you think you need, what systems you think you need in place in order to be successful. And again, write them in the little box that's left there, little lines for you to write in the workbook. And then finally, we're going to go on to the support one. It's like, do you actually have support already? Like, do you have a coach? Do you have a VA, an assistant? Do you have a team? Like, do your family, friends, they help out when they need to? Are they there to support you when you need it? I just want you to write down here, like, what level of support do you actually have? Like, do you have support? Do you use support at the moment? Or do you feel you need support? Again, just drop that into that little box for me down there. That'd be absolutely amazing. So cool. Hopefully everyone's gone through it and answered those questions. Again, if I'm going too fast, just let me know. But literally, first thing that comes to your mind on each of these, I don't want you to dig too deep into it just yet. You can always go back and refresh on this. That's completely fine. But for now, though, we're going to move on to the next section, which is the layers of business. So some of you may have seen this before, but we're going to approach this in a slightly different way to what we normally do when we're doing these things. So if you have seen this diagram before, please do listen in, please do pay attention, because it's going to be slightly different today. If you haven't, then hopefully this will really give you a good idea of what it is you actually need to start putting in place in order to thrive as an online personal trainer. Now, once you've laid those foundations that we talked about from the mass system, we can actually begin to build up. And that's literally what you're seeing on the screen now. These are different layers that we can build up in a pyramid format. And just like anything else, really, whenever you're trying to build something, you have to start from the bottom and work your way up. If you start putting some of maybe the bigger blocks at the bottom halfway up and maybe some of the smaller blocks at the top right down here towards the bottom, then what's going to happen? It will probably be able to balance out for a while, but as soon as the weather changes, there's a wind, there's a little shake or wobble, and something's not quite right, it's going to topple over. And that's why it's important that when you build anything, you have the right foundations in place and you have the right structures in place in order to make sure that if the weather does become turbulent and things don't go quite to plan, you have a stable, secure structure that's going to be able to withhold anything that gets thrown at it. And that's what we're aiming to go and do here. And that's kind of why I've done these layers in a pyramid format, because in order to build this, you need to kind of start at the bottom and you need to work your way up to go to the top. So the first thing you need to do is really start building on you, the business owner. At the end of the day, any kind of business, I don't care what business it is, when it first starts out, especially, it comes down to you as a business owner. You are literally the thing holding up and underpinning everything in that business. Without you, it literally would not exist. So that means you have to be in the right position to. We've already talked a bit about mindset already, but you have to work on you. You really, truly need to understand what you're doing this for. Because as you can see on here, you're holding everything else up into place. It doesn't matter what you do with the rest of this, unless you truly understand exactly what it is you're looking for, what it is you want from this. It's going to be impossible for you to manage and balance all this out. So that's the first thing when we work on is you, and make sure you have a good understanding of where everything is leading to. Next thing, I've kind of merged these two together for this one is sales and marketing. And you may notice if you look further up here towards the top, we have lead gen. Some people will put this in the same thing, but I don't think it is. I think sales and marketing and lead gen are all completely different things. They all have different purposes and different things you need to work on. So sales and marketing will be the next one to work on. I'm going to talk a bit more about this later on as well and talk through the systems and steps you need to do in order to put things in place to make this work. After that, you then want to focus on the product. So this is the service that you're going to deliver. Notice I've said product, not products. There's no plural there. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see online personal trainers make, especially when they're new to the industry, is offering too much too quickly. And if you're sat here now and maybe you're thinking about offering, I'm going to offer a 6-week program, an 8-week program, a 12-week program, a 16-week program, all doing the same thing, just different lengths, because I can put it at different prices. Or maybe I'm going to have just nutrition, just a workout program, and then you can have both if you want to from it all. I'm going to ask you just to stop before you do anything and have a listen to what I'm about to talk to you about and show you throughout this workshop. Because honestly, one of the most fundamental flaws we see in any business is that it's because they overcomplicate their offer, they overcomplicate their product, and they start offering things to the clients that they don't understand. So let me give you an example of what I mean by that. So let's talk about let's talk about that nutrition. Let's talk about the workouts. Let's talk about having both of them together. A lot of people do like nutrition only, workouts, and they can get both together. When you think about what you offer online, and bear in mind, we're not working in the gym at this stage. We're offering things online, and someone's coming to you and they find you. The reason they come to you, the reason they find you is because you've said you can solve a problem for them. And the only reason people buy from you or purchase anything for that matter is because they need a problem solving. Say, for example, you buy paint from a DIY store. The reason you buy paint is because your wall looks terrible and you need to paint it. It's a problem, and that problem is solved by buying the paint. Same if you buy a cushion for your sofa. It's because either your sofa doesn't look pretty without the cushion, or maybe your current cushions are just not comfortable anymore. Either way, there's some problems that need solving. So you buy something to solve that particular problem. The reason people are coming to you to buy your services, and this is more prevalent online, is because you're solving a problem for them. That might be to, and they lose X amount of weight for a wedding or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter what the reason is, but that's what they're there for you. And you have to make sure that you solve that problem because you're the expert. You're the expert solving that problem. And if I was to say to you, and let's use this wedding example here, if someone's coming to you and they want to lose weight for a wedding, if you say, oh, yeah, it's cool, we can help you do that. So you can either just do nutrition only, you can do workouts, and you can do nutrition and workouts. If I was to ask you in the comments, which one of those would help the client get the best results? Just let me know in the comments. Would it be just workouts? Would it just be nutrition? Or would it be both? So drop into the comments for me, just whilst I have a drink. Always interesting one there. So we got both. Some people say nutrition as well, which I can get the argument with that one. So excuse me. So yeah, both definitely. It's some more boths coming through here, and that's the important thing to remember here is that they're coming to you as the expert, and as experts, the majority of people here put both again. That as experts, we know that they need both of those things to get the results that they want. So as an expert, why are you offering something that's not going to give them the results that they need? That would be my argument. And it's the same whether you're talking about a 6-week program, 4-week program, a whatever it is when it comes to online training. Is someone going to really get tangible results that you're promised them in a 4-week program or a 6-week program or whatever? The chances are they're probably not. So what you don't want to do is start putting together a program that's not going to give them the results they want because you're the expert. They don't know. They don't know what to choose. So what they're probably going to do is choose the cheapest version of it. And the reason they're going to choose the cheapest version of it is because as an expert, you promised them that cheapest version of it, which might just be the workouts, is going to get them the result. But you know as an expert that you need both those things, the workouts and nutrition, to get the results. So why offer them just the workouts in the first place? They don't know any better. And that's your fault. You could easily say that a client is like, oh, they've not got the results because they went out eating KFC and McDonald's every single day. They might complete the workouts, but the client doesn't know that. And it's your fault because you're the expert. You know what they need and you haven't offered it to them. It's no different from a doctor prescribing something to somebody that they don't need. It'll be malpractice. So this is why I think it's important to make sure you focus on just one product when you're doing this and focus on getting that right. And we actually see this across business as well, not just in the fitness industry. If you look at some of the biggest names, literally the biggest companies in the world, if you take a look at Apple, they started off with one product and they got so good at selling that one product until they started then to diversify and increase their range into other products. And even then, they only kept it a small amount. One, they literally got into the hundreds of millions before they even started to move into multiple products. If you take Amazon, again, one of the biggest companies on the entire planet, they sold books. That was it. They sold books until they reached millions and millions and millions of sales. And they got so good at selling books online. And then all they did is ask their customers what else they actually wanted. And then that's what they decided to sell to people after that one. Millions. And my point here is that if all these other companies do this and it works well for them, and in the industry, we know in terms of what we're delivering to our clients, it works better to sell one result to that particular client. Then that's what we should be focused on, just the one product. So try not to actually have multiple products here and just focus on one. Next thing we have up at the top is our lead gen. So lead generation, this is basically where we start generating more leads and bring them in. Sales and marketing is about, well, sales is about converting the leads that you've already got in place. Marketing is about making people aware of your services and what it is you do. And then from that, you can then use lead generation to help attract more leads in so you can convert them into sales. Interesting enough, a lot of people focus on lead generation first without focusing on the sales, which means you're pulling all these people in, but you have no way to convert them into paying clients and you have no product to pull them into. It all seems a little bit backwards, but it all sounds funny. It all sounds not funny. Sorry. It all sounds really like kind of sexy. And the best way to do it is lead generation. We all need more leads. But I promise you, I would say almost all the people we've worked with over the past, well, near on 8 years now, when they've come to us and they've said they needed more leads, they haven't. I've looked at their business and within about 10 minutes, I've found a plethora of leads sat there they just have not followed up with. Lead generation is never really the problem. That's something you should be looking at a little bit later on, because unless you have the systems in place to convert them or the marketing in place to help find ways to nurture those leads beforehand, you're really just wasting your money on the lead generation side of the stuff. Next up then is team and operations. At this point, we'll start looking at introducing your team and the different systems operations you have in place for that. And then eventually then you have your range at the top. This is the range of maybe services or other things that you offer. So range doesn't mean you have to do the kind of 6 weeks, 8 weeks things we talked about a minute ago. It could be something like, okay, I offer my online program, but maybe I have some other upsells in there, some downsells in there, some other products that I might sell alongside it, whatever it is. And then the finance side at the top, this is where you might start looking at really truly reinvesting things and keep an eye on what you can do and reinvesting your money from that business into other elements or other areas, even outside of that business as well. And what's really interesting about that is that you need to think about where you should focus on first when it comes to doing this. So if we take a look here at this kind of diagram, we have our pyramid, and you can see down here, really, I'm going to use numbers on here. I don't really like using financial numbers for this, but it's the easiest way to picture this when you're doing it. I'm going to split this into 10K a month businesses, 30K a month businesses, and 50K a month businesses. And when I say 10K, 30K, 50 months, it's just an idea. It doesn't matter if it's in dollars or pounds. It's just a rough idea of how much is coming in. And I'm also, what I mean by this is consistently. If you do 6K one month, 10K another month, 12K another month, 6K another month, 8K another month, you're probably around a 10K company. But you might have 1 month in there that's 30K. That doesn't make you a 30K company. It just means you had 1 month at 30K. So the idea is what you do here on average consistently is what I'm talking about. So down, if we look at the bottom, which is where most people tend to start out at, is this area. And really what you need to be doing is focus on you, your sales and marketing, and your product. That's really it. If you can nail these 3 things down here, then you'd easily be hovering around the 10K per month mark. You don't have to do much else after that, really. It becomes quite simple and easy. The next thing, we move up a level, you want to be spending 80% of your time around team and operations, around lead generation, and maybe developing that product just a little bit more. That's where your time should be as a business owner. And then maybe 10% of your time should be around sales and marketing and you. And 10% of your time should be around the finance and range, which might open up an obvious question is like, well, what does that actually mean then? So am I not doing too much down here then when I get to this kind of month? And the question is, well, probably no. You're probably not doing that much in those areas when you get to around that kind of 30K per month mark, because by then you'll have some team in place. By then you'll have the systems in place to help manage a lot of this for you already. And then when you kind of get to the high level up here, 80%, You focus on the range of your business and where it's going, and maybe the finance side of it, about what you're actually doing your money, where you're actually reinvesting it, and just keeping an eye on everything else on the pyramid because you have the team, the systems, and processes in place before then. Does that make sense for everybody before going to the next bit? Hopefully it does. Give me the thumbs up or yes or no in the comments. That'd be amazing. Excellent. Cool. Looks like they're coming through. Kind of makes sense to people. So what I want you to do, awesome, is turn to page 6 of your workbook if you're using the workbook. If not, take a look at what's on the screen and get your artistic side out and start doing a little bit of drawing for this one. And I want you to have a go drawing this up, or again, you can just use what's on the workbook as well whilst we're in here. So you can see we have this kind of spider's web on the page, number 1 in the center, and we have our little spotter up here, and we have our number 10 at the top all the way around. And you can see we have those different stages of the pyramid all the way around the outside of this. And down this side, we have our foundational things: our mindset, our action, our systems, and our support. And what I want you to do is just score yourself where you feel you are on each of these areas on this spider's web. So if we take a look at number 1 down here, if we take a look at mindset, I want you to score yourself how you feel in this area of your business. So how do you feel about finance in your business, for example? Do you feel like really crap about it? So maybe you're a 1, or maybe you feel amazing about it. So maybe you're 10, or maybe somewhere in the middle, maybe around 5. And just write on there number 5 and just mark that in red pen or something along those lines. Or just put a big M next to it or something along those lines on there. And then do that for each one of these, the range of services that you offer, the team operations, how you feel around that, your lead generation, how do you feel about that, your product, your sales, your marketing, and of course, how you are as well in terms of what you do. And we're going to do exactly the same here. I can see some questions coming in, so I will go through those as I get this activity going. We then have the action, and we do exactly the same for that. So how well do you action these in your business currently? So when it comes to your marketing, for example, how well or how much do you actually action marketing tasks within your business? Are you really comfortable with it? So maybe you score yourself an 8, or maybe you're really just not that comfortable with it. You don't do it very often, not very consistently. So maybe you score yourself a 2. Same for sales, product, so on. Next up is systems. How do you rate your current systems for you have in place for all these different things as well? So at the moment, you might be doing okay with your marketing. You might be taking action with those, but it's taking up a lot of your time. So maybe your systems aren't in place for it yet. So you need to work on better systems, or you like to work on better systems so you don't have to spend too much time doing it. So maybe your systems are a 2, for example. And the same for support is, do you actually have any support in these particular areas? Say, for example, in your finance area, you might have an accountant helping you. So maybe you're an 8. Maybe in your teams and ops, maybe you've got a VA. So maybe you're a 7. Maybe you got nobody. So you're a 2. Maybe in your lead gen, you're not doing too well at the moment with that, but you've just hired a lead gen expert. So maybe you're like an 8 or a 9 in here, and so on. So score yourself on that. And by the end of it, it should look a little bit like this. I'm going to go through this thing. I'm going to give you literally just maybe a few minutes to go through this, mark those numbers on there, have a think, and just do what first comes to mind. We're doing this fast on purpose. So first comes to mind, just drop those on there, and then I'm going to answer these questions that are coming through in the comments now. So we've got down here is, how do people earn 10K per month? Are they check-ins just done via email? It varies. So if you think about 10,000 a month itself as a number, I just use that as a number. I don't like pushing a particular number for your business. I don't really agree with these kind of mentorship programs or courses and things like that say, right, we're going to get you 10K months, 20K months, whatever. The reason I don't really, it sounds good. Admittedly, it sounds good. It's really good marketing, and it's tempting sometimes to say this is what you should go and do. But the thing when it comes to monetary value for stuff, it doesn't mean anything. Like money on its own, the cash you get into your business, and this is something you'll learn as your business develops. The cash in your business is just a tool. That's all it is. It's nothing else. It's just a tool. And that cash is then used to help do other things. So, for example, it could be reinvesting other stuff in your business. It could be to invest in staff, teams, advertising, whatever it is. But also, that cash is there to help you achieve things. As we talked about at the very start of this, when we talked about the mindset side of things, you need to really understand the goals that you want for your life out of this, because your business, again, is there to help you achieve those. And the money is a tool to help you do that. So, let's say if you want to earn 10K a month, for example. And if you go back and think about it and go, right, do I need 10K a month? What do I actually need in order to achieve the lifestyle that I want? Maybe it's not 10K. Maybe it's a lot less. Maybe it's 6K a month or 7K a month. Maybe it's a lot more. Maybe it's 20K a month. It just depends on what your actual goals are. But the other side of this is things like time. Like in reality, and I don't want to say this carelessly or anything like that, but in reality, to make £10,000 as a business owner is not actually that difficult, but there's always a cost to do it. There's a cost in time, there's a cost in stress, there's a cost in health. So, do you want to try and do that in a way that's not going to cost you in other areas? So, you could make 10K consistently per month or 20K or 30K or whatever it is, but you might have zero time. You might be working 80 hours a week. You might not be sleeping very well. You might not be able to spend time with your children or your husband or your wife or your partner. Maybe you actually you had the dreams of traveling the world and seeing all these different places, but you now have no time to do it because you're spending all that time working, trying to earn 10K, 15K, or whatever it is per month. So it's important that you really understand what those end goals are and then create a plan to help you achieve that within your business. That's what you're trying to do. And that's exactly the same thing that you do with the money side of stuff. So with that in mind, to go back to your actual question, because I know you was asking about what's actually included in it, we are going to dig into exactly what's included in the program that you would have lied to earn that kind of money per month. We are going to go into that as we go through this particular program. It's not always done by check-ins. You do have to do check-ins with it, but probably not in the way you're thinking about. There's definitely ways to go and do it and to have that kind of value in there. But we will go into that as we go through this workshop. I've got like a whole section of the workbook about it as well, breaking it all down. Yes, and exactly. I think this is put up on the screen here. Let's if I can show it on the screen. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Bring it up. So it's the same as when we tell our clients to lose £20 per month. Yes, you can, but it costs you something. Exactly. That's exactly the way to put it. It's perfectly put. Okay, cool. So let's just dig back into this one. So yeah, once you've done that, and hopefully you've got some numbers. I've got some pretty colors on here, but you know, you can have it however it looks on your notepad or in your workbook or whatever it is. If you want to, you can kind of join the dots together and kind of create a spidergram. And what this will do is give you a really good picture of where you're currently at in all these key areas in your business, where you actually are now and where you maybe need to do some work on. So let's give you an example. If we look at marketing here, maybe if you look at the marketing one here, because you've got the colors spread around, maybe you've just joined a course, so your support is quite high, which is great. And you feel okay about marketing now that you have the support you need. So over here, you can see the mindset one's quite high. You're getting more confidence because you know you've got the support and stuff there. But you've only just started out on this course, so you're still only really taking action without much structure, and you're not doing it too consistently because it is a new course you've done. So you're still quite low on the actual action that you're taking, and you have very little in terms of systems to help you do this yet because you've literally just signed up to this course. So you kind of get an idea of how this looks when it comes to laying things down. It gives you an idea of how your business currently sits at the moment. Or if we take a look at the lead gen one, for example, down here, you can see it's all a bit low and a bit close together. This one is showing you that you have no or very little support in place at the moment, very little systems in place at the moment. And this makes you feel uncertain, see the red one there, about the processes and causes you to put things off and not do things or take action when you really need to, just because you have no structure in place as well. So it keeps everything nice and low. But this actually tells you a number of different things. So if you look over here, you may find that you've recently got support and you can see these kind of numbers going up because of it. But in this particular area, you haven't got support and the numbers are quite low. So maybe getting some support in that particular area will then help drive these numbers forward. So that's just an example, but hopefully this can start giving you an idea of where you need to work on in your business, what areas you need to go and improve on to help improve every other aspect of your business as well. So hopefully that helps. That makes sense. How's everyone got on with that one? Thumbs up if it's working okay, if all makes sense. Again, you can always come back to this as well. You can always watch this back and do some of these activities as well a little bit later on. And if that's the case, we'll jump on to the next one. Boom. Have a quick drink whilst we go and do this. So what I like to do now, if you've got the workbook, is to go to page 7 of the workbook, so 7 pages in. If not, you can just do this on your notepad or whatever it is you want to go and write it on. That's also completely fine in here. So what I want to do, I want you to tell me currently from what you've looked at so far, what we learned so far, is where your actual business is now. Is it A? Is it B? Or is it C? And the first thing, let's just use the monetary income side of this to make it easier to start off with. So where would you see your business sits at the moment? Is it around, again, I don't like using the monetary side of this, but it's the easiest way to quantify it. Is it around the 10K per month? Is it around the 30K per month? Is it around the 50K per month consistently? You can drop it into the comments as well if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to, makes it useful, makes it easy for the conversation to flow. But if not, I can talk about each anyway. But yeah, if you could just drop it in the comments, that'd be good. So A, B, or C about where your business is. And once you've done that, what I'd like you to do is to write into comments is, where do you focus your energy right now? So based on what we've talked about, if you're in A, for example, is your energy and efforts focused on you and getting your goals and stuff in line and understanding a clear path, a clear line of action, the clear things you need to take? Are you focusing your energy on your sales and marketing, and are you focusing your energy on just selling one particular product? If you're not doing that, just put no. If you are doing that, just put yes. That'd be amazing. If you're in B, for example, then maybe are you spending all your effort really 80% of your time managing your team's operations and managing on lead gen and maybe developing your product more? Again, let me know in the comments. Yes, if you are. No, if you're not. Have a quick drink whilst you do that. Got a load of A's coming in, a couple of B's coming in, some yeses. Good. That's what I like to see. I want to make sure that your energy is focused in the right areas and you're not jumping around to too many different areas. Happy days. Looks good. Awesome. Cool. So in which case then, yeah, we've got loads of A's coming in. Yes, yes, yes. A line of action of what I want. Perfect. B. And I'd love to share with you what I wouldn't be on B now without the help of your systems. Oh, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Really do. I'm even going to put it on the screen because it looks amazing. Yay. Thank you very much. I'm so happy being able to help to get you there. That's amazing. Awesome. Love that. Thank you very much. Always makes me feel happy. It's always good in our business sometimes. We spend a lot of time trying to help people and put things together. And it's always nice when you hear from trainers who, even if you just helped in the slightest little bit, it makes all the difference, I think. I suppose like you guys with coaches as well. You know, you try and help your clients as best possible. And it doesn't matter whether it's somebody you've worked with or somebody you haven't. If it's a post you've done or you've worked with someone directly, it feels good when you've actually helped somebody get them to where they want to be. And it's always nice to hear that from people. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that on there. Thank you very much. Okay, cool. So let's jump on to this next one here. We're going to turn it on to page 8 of the workbook. And really, we're going to look at, like, at the moment, now you focus on the right areas. If you are focusing on the right areas, do you feel like there's just really way too much to do in your business? I mean, at the moment, if you know you need to focus on, maybe you're on A, like a lot of people here are, you focus on you and your goals, you focus on your sales and marketing, you focus on getting your products and stuff right. Do you feel like you're waking up and you've just got an absolute load of work to do all the time, like it's never ending all the time? Just like yes or no. Just let us know in the comments. That would be amazing. I'm going to dig into that a little bit now, and I want to walk through what I've got on the screen here. And you've probably heard this before, which is you're wearing all the hats in your business. You know, you wear all the different hats in your business, and I want to use that as a bit of a kind of analogy for what I want to talk about here, which are the different roles people tend to play with inside a business. I'm not talking about individual employee roles. I'm just going to talk about the kind of the hats or the roles that people might play or the areas they might actually play within their business. So I'm going to start right down the bottom here. So marketing, sales, ops, and admin. These are kind of like the 4 key areas that actually allow your business to run. So doing all the marketing side of things, doing the sales side, which in this case I'm going to include lead generation in that just to make it simpler and easier. We have the ops, which is general operations. So this is things like actually delivering your services to your clients. So if you're doing calls with clients, maybe doing face-to-face, that would all fall into here as well. And then admin is everything else that's not client-facing and not sales or marketing based. So this is all the stuff behind the scenes that you need for your business to go and run. Like these kind of 4 areas at the moment are probably areas that you all have to work in all the time. And these are the things that are key to making your business run. And what you kind of need above that, and you'll do this role as well, is this facilitator role. So a facilitator's job is to make sure that all these key areas are running properly. So the marketing side is running properly, the sales are running properly, the ops are running properly, the admin side of this is running properly. So you have this facilitator role. And the chances are you're probably doing that as well. So not only are you doing these marketing roles down here, you're also making sure that all these areas are working coherently with each other, because all of them are linked together. Without one, the other one doesn't work as well. So you've got to kind of facilitate all this and balance it all out properly. So you're probably doing that too. And then on top of that, you're also probably doing the visionary role. So visionary role is your job as a business owner. You've got to direct your business. And over in the UK, we call owners of businesses, of course, we call them CEOs and things like that, but we have a proper name for them at Companies House called directors. Now, I think that's probably the most apt name for a business owner as a director, because really it's your job to direct the business in the right direction. And that's kind of what this visionary role is here. The whole idea is to make sure that you're pushing your business in the right direction to where you actually want it to be and make those bigger decisions. And what's really interesting, the kind of role that decides how your business runs and what you need to do in order to get those, this visionary role. Yeah, normally when we first start out in business, we spend very little time doing this up here, very, very little time, probably like hardly anything. And then we spend a bit more time using this facilitator role down here. And down here, we spend all our time doing this stuff at the bottom. But the problem is this stuff here never pushes your business that far forward. These things up here do. And it's about getting that balance right. You can't just do one without the other. You have to do all of them. And it's important that you do get that balance right when it comes to doing it. So this next task I'm going to do is have a think about how much your time you're spending on each of these different areas within your business currently. So if you can, head over to page 9 in your workbook and you'll see something that looks a little bit like this on here. I just want you to either write in there or just even just color in how many hours per day you're spending on each of these areas within your business. If you don't have a workbook and you don't want to write it down, you can drop it into the comments as well. You can just put down and let me know. I'll tell you what we'll do. Write down a piece of paper somewhere how many hours you're going to do it. If you don't have a workbook, if you have got the workbook, you can color it all in. And then what I want you to do in the comments is just let me know at the moment where you're spending most of your time and where you're spending the least of your time in these areas on your business. So I'm going to give you literally just 90 seconds or so. It has to be a rough estimate of what you think. It doesn't have to be perfect. So write down how much time you spend that visionary role, how much time are you thinking about where your business is going to go next, how much time are you actually overseeing all the day-to-day of your business, how much time do you spend on sales, on ops, on marketing, on admin, maybe each day on average. And then let me know in the comments which one of those areas you spend the most time on, which one of those areas you spend the least time on. So off we go. Cool to hear that in the comments as well. Lovely jubbly. So we've got a few different comments coming in. So cool, this software. If anyone ever wants to know what software I'm using something called StreamYard. It allows me to stream into multiple different groups and YouTube channels and things like that. And I can actually get all the comments from all of them in one place. So it's really cool. So yeah, very impressive software. So we've got a lot of people saying they spend hardly any time on visionary. Some people don't spend too much time on the admin. A lot of time spent on ops and sales seems to be the most common one down at the moment. A few on facilitators, which is good. Just keep them coming into the comments. That'll be awesome. Happy days. So once you've got that done, I'll always come back and look at this a little bit later on. I want to share this next bit with you. So now we understand this kind of pyramid. And this is the thing about all this. The more you focus on the right areas in your business at the right time, the faster your business grows and the more stable it becomes. And you end up basically wearing less hats and focus on the areas that drive your business forward towards your goals. So if you literally wake up every day not knowing what to do, or you feel like everything's just an absolute slog for you all the time, this is probably why. It's because your focus is probably in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I want you to write this question down anywhere you want to and just stick it somewhere. Like, is your focus in the right place? And I think that's a really important thing to question whenever you're doing something. Each day, if you feel a little bit lost, ask yourself that question: is my focus in the right place at the moment? And I do completely get it. You'd be like, well, actually, I'll take you from know what I need to be doing every single day. We're all literally going to go and dig into that right now. I'm going to take you through it all. But this is one of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself: is like, is your focus actually in the right place? Now, if you don't know what to focus on or where to start, make sure you stick around towards the end. I want to literally show you exactly how to go and do that. So let's dig into this next section. Hopefully everyone's following along okay, and we're still here with us. Looks like it. Looks like we're all good. I'm going to quickly dig into the client journey. So I'm going to turn over to page 10 for me now in the workbook. So we've looked at the basic foundations of creating a thriving business already. These are the fundamentals, the foundation behind it all. So let's look at probably the most important part of your business here. And this is really the thing that actually makes you money. This is the client journey. Now, you may have heard of customer journey before. I'll turn this into client journey because it's a bit more apt for what we do in the fitness industry. And you may have seen me share this around, but I'm going to break it down with you now. What I want to do is explain what this client journey is and talk about these different areas in here. And here's the thing. As you kind of go through this client journey, you really need to take action every single day on each of these areas in order to be successful. And you also need the systems to help support you do this, because otherwise you're going to end up becoming overwhelmed and everything's going to become inconsistent. So it's not just about understanding this, it's about having the things in place, having the systems in place, and having actionable steps that you can complete each day in order to move your lead and prospect through this client journey to become a paying client. So I'm going to very quickly run through this with you now so you can see what the stages are, and then we're going to break this down together. So the first thing here is a prospect becomes aware of you and becomes interested in what you offer. That's the awareness stage. Engagement, the potential prospect begins to engage with you and you're now driving traffic towards your offer. You are looking to get your prospect to subscribe on some level with you. So whether that be email or social media, that's what the subscribe follow section is. And then we're going to get on to convert. So here you're looking at your prospect to make a small investment into your business. That can be a time investment or it could be a monetary investment. Ideally monetary, but time is also just as good. Kind of depends on your business model, which will work better for you then. Excite stage is where you're looking to excite your client or lead, depending on what you've done at the convert stage, about their initial purchase or maybe a call they booked or something along those lines. And then we go to the invest stage. This is where the big money starts to happen. This is where, we don't just want to retain our clients for the long term. We want them to invest in our other services as well. And that's what we focus on doing in the invest stage. We then have our champion stage. This is where our clients now talk about others with you. So they're actually talking about your services and being those services about how good it actually is. And then we move on to promote stage, which is where you actually create official partnerships with other clients, maybe other businesses and things like that to help push your business forward. So this really here is the entire client journey to put together. So what I want to share with you now is an example of what this actually looks like. But I'm going to do this as this stage is like a relationship, because in reality, when it comes to making sales, when it comes to running any kind of business, fundamentally, it's about relationships. It's about the relationships you have between you and your potential clients. And the reason people stay with you longer is because there's relationships. And that's basically what you have to be as a business owner. You have to be a master at nurturing relationships. So I'm going to use a relationship as an example because I'm assuming most people here have been in a relationship at some sort with somebody, maybe started dating somebody or something along those lines. So I think this is a good way of demonstrating it. So let's start at the awareness stage. Again, this is noticing an attractive person across the room. Engagement, you walk up to that attractive person you notice and you introduce yourself. Subscribe and follow, you end up getting a number from that person you found attractive. Convert, you're on your first date. Yay, that's awesome. Excite, the first date goes really well. So you both then go on a second and maybe a third date. The invest stage is now you've been dating. It's time to make this relationship official. So you say, yep, let's just make this official. And so you decide to spend more time together now, and you really start to trust each other during this phase here. A champion is now you've gone to become Facebook official. So not only do just your closest friends and family know about in the invest stage here, you've got a relationship, now you've actually put it on Facebook. The whole world knows. Let's say you've got the whole world on Facebook. Everybody kind of starts to know about this. And promote is wedding bells. You're actually getting married at this point. You really just want officially everybody to know that you are in a relationship and you're in that relationship for the long term. That is kind of how this looks. This is exactly how it works in your business. But here's the weird and wonderful thing about this. I'd imagine most people here, and again, let me know if not, that can relate to this process here. You've probably gone through this process before when dating somebody or getting into a relationship with somebody. I'm assuming you have. And you kind of know that without those steps, that order that you go into, it doesn't really work. And that's exactly the same thing with your fitness business. In fact, with any business, you still have to go through these steps in order for it to go and work. So if we take a look at this now, I want to share with you here what I actually see many personal trainers do when it comes to their online fitness business, and try and put that in the perspective of a relationship to try and really help you understand where maybe in your business you might be a little bit wrong with it if you've started doing this, or if not, some of the pitfalls to kind of miss out on. So awareness stage, what I see a lot of people doing is they're not telling anybody they're looking for a relationship, but they're expecting one. Or you're putting yourself out there, you're not actually putting yourself out there to find one, or you're trying to find love at a couple's retreat. So you're literally going to places where you've got no chance of starting a relationship with them. I see people do that all the time. Next thing, we're going to go into the engagement stage. So when someone shows interest in you or shares a similar interest, you completely ignore them. So let's say somebody is kind of like interacting with you on Facebook, maybe giving you a like or something like that, and you just completely ignore them. Don't say thank you. They send you a friend request, you just ignore them. Don't say anything back to them. And then literally, it's like them saying hi to you, and then you just turning away and having a conversation with somebody else. That's literally what I see a lot of people do when it comes to the engagement stage of this. not really thinking about how to nurture that relationship in real life. It works exactly the same when it comes to your business. You're still going to nurture that relationship. Subscribe and follow. When you start talking to each other, but you don't make your intentions clear, so you just have a conversation, but you don't make it clear what you actually want to do. And also, how can you expect to go on a date if you don't actually let them know you're interested in doing so? So a lot of people are just not telling people what they're actually wanting to do. It baffles me sometimes. And then we go to convert. So you're on your first date, and all you do is talk about you, and you don't ask them about them. You just talk about you and your business and your product and your service and your experience and your certifications and all this stuff that they really do not care about. And we all know when we go on dates with people, if you want to take it to that next level, what do? You talk about them. You try and find out as much about them as possible to see how well you can relate to them because you're trying to figure out whether this is somebody you want to be with. Just like it is, you're trying to figure out if this is somebody you can help. Exactly the same principle. And at this point here, you don't make your intentions clear that you want to go on to a second date. You just kind of leave them after that first interaction. Next thing we're going to move on to is your first date goes really well, but then you completely ghost them after, even though you want to take it to the next level, you just don't speak to them and you make no effort with them. And over this side here, you invest in them. The amount of people I see do this is they have the main offer, the main big flagship program or whatever it is they want to offer, and they just go straight out and offer it to strangers. Just put like a post out there or whatever it is out there without doing anything else beforehand. It's literally equivalent of walking to a bar, walking up to people you're attracted to and asking them to move in with you. It's too big of a jump, and you need to nurture them beforehand. Lots many people do this. And then up at the top here, it can even get worse sometimes, especially with high ticket programs. Like you're literally sat at home waiting for that perfect someone you haven't met yet to come knock on your door and ask them to marry you. You're not making any effort to go out there. You just expect them to come to you. And we see that all the time as well. The champion stage up here is you want to introduce your new date to your friends and family, but you haven't even been on your second date yet. So you're going to start scaring people off. So you've got to get that balance right when it comes to when you're going to take people to this next level. And then over here, you want to set your Facebook to in a relationship with somebody you literally just kissed at the bar. They're going to think you're a weirdo. So yeah, this is kind of what we see all the time, or see a lot of the time in fitness businesses. I mean, I don't know if anyone here can relate to what I'm talking about here at the moment, whether you feel maybe you've done similar things to this, maybe skipping ahead on the scale, not in relationships, but in your business. Hopefully this kind of makes a little bit of sense with you on there. So what does this actually look like then from a business point of view, specifically an online personal training business point of view? So I'm going to give you an example here, and I'm actually going to show you an example later on, or in the next like 5-10 minutes or so, about what this actually looks like and actually what a client of ours is using step by step. But here to give you some ideas, the awareness stage here might be social posting. You might be doing what we call follow, like, engage, where you'll follow certain people who are interested in the same things as your clients are and so on. So like a special tactic thing you can do. Creating partnerships, maybe paid ads in this section. Engagement would be social engagement. So you're actually engaging with people, maybe in forums or in Facebook groups or wherever it is. Warm outreach. This is maybe doing outreach with people who have already engaged in your services one way or another. So having those conversations with them. Going to partnership events or maybe using retargeting advertising here. Subscribe and follow. They might join your social group, for example, Facebook. They might follow you on socials, join the newsletter, that kind of thing. Convert. They might book a call with you. They're investing their time. They might join a challenge. They're investing time or maybe money. And flagship program is your main offer. They're investing time and money in this case into that one. Then you've got the excited phase for doing this. You're going to have a really stellar onboarding process, maybe onboarding call. You'll have check-ins and roundups in there as well. You might have challenge lives running if you're running a challenge. And you'll do future pacing as well. So making sure that your clients understand that this isn't the first step. There's other things that are going to come after this. You want to be talking about that earlier on. You want to manage that expectation from the start. So part of this is not just about getting the best results. It's also about making sure they stay with you for the longest. Invest stage here, they might invest in your main flagship program. There'll be support and coaching in there. Normally, this is results focused, and you probably start encouraging the community around this as well. You're then going to move them up this ladder in the invest stage so you can get them to purchase more things. You might offer a membership here, which is where they'll go after your main front end offer or your flagship offer. This could be a subscription based, normally more community focused at this point because you retain them for longer. And then up at the top here, you might have some premium services such as with one-to-one support in there. And these more premium ones here, maybe again, more results focused than community focused. In the champion stage, you'll be asking for testimonials, asking for reviews, And then you'll use these reviews and testimonials back down here in the awareness stage. So it kind of loops around together. And then you've got your promote stage over here at the end, where you might offer affiliate programs to partners or selected clients, and even invite clients to public events to help support awareness again down the bottom. And this journey just repeats itself over and over and over again. So there's a little activity for you to do here. Again, go in your workbook. I want you to head over to page 11. And you can see we've got some little stars inside the workbook. I want you to go and head over to those. And what I'd like you to do is just score yourself about where you think you are in this particular, in each of these different areas. So at the moment, based on what we talked about there, how well or how do you rate yourself in terms of the awareness that you give for your business? How do you rate yourself in terms of the engagement you're giving out for your business? The subscribe, follow stage, the convert stage, the excite stage, the invest stage, champion stage, and promote stage. How well is your business suited for these at the moment, and are you suited for them? So if you're literally not, if you're not doing anything consistently, maybe posting online or running ads or anything like that, then it might just be a 1 star. Maybe if you're posting consistently each day and you're maybe running ads, for example, and they're working. Working's the key one here. Then you might have a 4 or 5 on that one. Engagement, are you actually following up with these people when you're actually engaged with you? If you are, maybe it's going to be 3, 4, or 5 stars. If you're not following up with anybody that's engaging with you on your posts, then maybe it's a 1 star, and so on and so on. So if you can work your way through there, doing your different stars in there, and what I want you to do, again, I'm going to literally give you 60 seconds or so. So first thing that comes to mind, don't overthink this. Just put on what you feel is right quickly. So what's your gut instinct saying to you here? This is where I feel I'm at on this one. And what I want you to do in the comments, just let me know whether you what your weakest area is and what your strongest area is. So it is your strongest area invest, which is where your main program actually is, or is your strongest area in awareness because you're great at doing social content out there. Maybe your weakest area is getting people to convert into paying clients. Maybe your weakest area is the excite phase, actually helping people get excited about what they just purchased and then retaining them for longer. Like, what is it? Let us know in the comments. Literally 60 seconds so to go through this activity, and I'll give you a minute to complete that. Then we'll get on to the next section of this as well. Awesome, cool. Let's see what else we've got coming into the comments on here. So awareness, a lot of people at the start of this thing, awareness. It's quite interesting actually when you look at it. We see this quite a lot. The invest stage tends to be okay. A lot of people have an idea what program stuff they want to deliver, but yeah, conversions again, what people struggle with quite a bit. Yeah, awareness again. The ones coming in greatest one's awareness. Weakest is the conversions or the convert section of it all. Yeah, it's quite common that a couple of those come in. Awesome. Cool. So I'm going to bring this up now. I'm going to move to the next section here. So also in your workbook, you should see an empty one that looks like this as well. I'll put this in there just to help you. We don't have to do too much with this now. But basically what I want to use this for is to kind of start with a blank slate. You know where your strongest bits are, your weakest bits are. If your greatest area, for example, is awareness, which it is for many of you, just put a list in there, a few bullet points, what it is you actually do. What are your actual steps that you take in here? Just an overview of it all. So what the process is. Like, do you post each day? Do you do whatever it is, run ads, drop it into there, into the awareness section. And then go through each one of these and just put in some things that you feel you need to do. So what things can you do in each of these areas to help achieve the things that we've talked about already? And just drop it into those boxes and just make this as simple as possible. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated. It's really, really simple. Now, if you don't know how to do this, then like I said before, stick around to the end and I've got someone that will really help you with putting all this together as well. So next thing I want to do is promise we'll dig into the types of training for it all. I'm going to quickly run through this because some of you may have actually seen this. So now we have the foundations in place. We know what the client journey needs to be. So what do we actually offer as part of our online programs if we want a thriving online fitness business? So I want to quickly run through each of these on here. You may have seen this before in some of the other talks and things that I've done. And this here are the types of online training. So we have 6 different levels. We have automated, supported automation, semi-automated, custom automation, semi-customized, and customized. So these different levels of online personal training that are up on here. Automated, number one, towards the bottom. The bottom of the scale tends to be a lot less time being spent on things, but also they tend to be the cheapest, like value-wise as well. You tend to be sold at a lot lower value. So automated will be 100% hands-off, no interaction with the client at all. This might be a PDF that you sell. Simple as that. PDF goes out to nothing else. Supported automation, program delivery is automated, but support is offered in a group format, for example, a Facebook group. So this could be a PDF that's offered to them, and you have a Facebook group there where they can ask questions and build a community around it and things like that. Next up, semi-automated. So program delivery is automated, but one-to-one support is offered. So you might offer them maybe a course. This would be quite useful for a course. If you run like a course in Kajabi or Thinkific or Kartra or LeadDeck or Go High Level or whatever it is, if you have a course inside there, but you offer some one-to-one calls with them, maybe one-to-one text messaging support, something along those lines, that would be classed as a semi-automated program because you still have to do some manual work with it, but the actual delivery is completely automated. You don't change it. It's just the same for every single person that goes through it all. And then we have custom automation. So program delivery is automatically delivered, but it can then be adapted to adjust the client. So in this case, this is the one that we tend to recommend the most for people to start off with. It's the one we've seen the most success with across all the successful businesses we work with. And we've worked with thousands of online personal training businesses now, helping them set up their systems, helping them set up their online fitness businesses. And we use a done for you service to go and do that. And part of that done for you service is we just set up whatever it is they want. Of one of the platinum done for you service we offer, and we get to see what works well and what doesn't. And this approach here is the one we see the most success with across all those businesses that we've actually worked with. I'm going to show you what that kind of looks like in a minute as well. And then we have semi-customized. So the onboarding is automated, but the program is created from pre-made content based on the needs and feedback. So this here might be, for example, you could use something like PT Distinction, which is an online coaching software where you can have lots of pre-made sections that you can mix and match and swap around to adapt to the client really, really quickly. But it's made from pre-built sections. That was an example for that one. And then customized is the onboarding is again automated, as it always should be, in my opinion. But the program is built completely around the client. So this might be client onboards, completes a form, and then from that form, you would build out a workout program, nutrition program, whatever it is for them completely from that one. As I mentioned, the most success lies we've seen within number 4. So what I want to ask you guys, if you can turn to page 14 of the workbook, is what do you currently offer? So tick the box of the one you actually offer. And again, if you like, just let us know in the comments which one it actually is. Give us a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. If you don't offer anything online at the moment, just go no, or don't offer anything, or whatever you want to write into the comments. Just let us know. And as you're doing that, I want to talk a little bit about these successful ones. I want to talk a little bit about changes in the industry that's happening right now. So we've got 6 customized, perfect. Awesome. Yeah, a lot of 6s, some 5s there as well. Some 4s. Good. It's nice to see there's not too many on the lower end one. I like that. Sometimes you do get some, there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. But one thing I will say, and one thing I do want to quickly talk about, I think it's important, is future proofing your business. Now, we've seen number 4 to be the most successful. And I also believe this is the one that's going to be more future proof in terms of AI for the future. And of course, 5 and 6 would also fall into this. So basically, what I'm talking about here is everything from 4 and above are the areas that are going to kind of be future proofed, for at least for the time being anyway, unless things drastically change. But at the moment, I think that's the one. I think if you're currently offering kind of 1, 2, or 3 when it comes to the fitness business side of things, and you're offering that now, I think in the next 5 years, unless you adapt it to adjust what people do within levels 4, 5, and 6, then for want of a better word, I think the business side of that's screwed. So yeah, I think that's the one to look at, because even now, at these levels down here, the automated, support automation, semi-automated, there's AI out there doing it quicker and better than what most personal trainers can do it. And that's not a dig at personal trainers in general about their knowledge or anything like that. It's just the technology is that good at the moment out there. So, and it's only getting better. But when you start customizing, when you start thinking about the individual client, and yes, AI can customize for the client, but when you start thinking about the specific clients you want to work with, you think about the relationships you have with them, that actual side of coaching and the nuance of the coaching that levels 4, 5, and 6 take into account, That's going to be the biggest difference. And that's what's going to keep people safe in our industry in the future. And that's where the most success is going to be. So I think if you're doing, a level 4, 5, or 6, that's great. The only thing I would say is when it comes to 5 and 6 is scalability. There are limits, especially with the customized one. There are limits of how many clients you can take on. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying it's something you need to think about. The level 4 one down here, the reason we believe we've seen more success in this one is it's extremely scalable. So with this model down here, you can handle literally hundreds of clients with just one coach and still give them great results, still have it customized for them. There's a lot of other things you need to take into account with that, such as the niches you're working with and things like that, but it is possible. But again, that might not be the business model you need. It might not be suited to your goals. It all literally just depends, as I mentioned before, what your goals and stuff are from it all. But again, if you don't know how to do that, let's say if you're down here on the low ones, or you maybe even up on the high ones, and you're thinking, I want to look at how I can scale this a bit more, save a bit more time, take on more people, and you're not sure how to bring it into this custom automation, I'll dig into this a little bit now as an example, but make sure you stick around because at the end, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do this extremely quickly as well. So now we have the foundations in place. We have the client journey. We've talked about that already. We have the type of program, but how do we now approach this program and what do we actually need to include in it? So this is how many online programs tend to start that we've seen. We start with all the tech. So we give the client, say, hey, welcome aboard. Here's all the tech that you've never used before that you have to go and learn really, really quickly because we're going to start tomorrow. And then here are all the resources that you may or may not need because we don't know yet, but I'm going to give it all to you in one because I believe by giving you more stuff, it's online, it feels more valuable. So the more I give you, the better. And obviously, you've never seen this before, but don't panic. Don't feel overwhelmed, clearly, because you might not need it all yet, but we're just going to give it you anyway. And then next thing over here is that here is your coaching program and all the changes you need to make over the next 12 weeks in this example here that you've never had to do before. And that's what most programs tend to start off like. Give them everything at once at the front and then spend the rest of the time trying to adjust and adapt it and appease the client as they go through to make sure they don't feel too overwhelmed. And that's literally what happens here. The client just has information overload and their head goes boom. And this is literally when the overwhelm starts to kick in. The problem with overwhelm is it can lead to buyer's remorse. It can lead to low adherence. It can lead to low retention. It can lead to subpar results. And to overcome this, the only thing you can do is offer more support and make more adjustments, which then takes up more time. It then costs you more money because your time is obviously money from there. So think about where your focus needs to be in order to have a thriving thriving and successful online fitness business. Think about what we talked about earlier on. It's not this. It's not spending too much time in this area. And if your time is being constantly taken up by trying to manage your clients, then it's going to be very difficult for you to grow a thriving and successful online fitness business. So it's important to remember when we're looking at this is that you are not a personal trainer anymore. You are a business owner that offers personal training, and you need to start acting like one if you want to be successful. And that's why it's important to not just think about the business side of this, but also the structure of your program, the systems you use in your program, and how you can deliver that to your clients to make sure that you have the capacity across all those areas. So you have the ability to wear all those hats at the start so you can start to grow that pyramid that we talked about earlier and then be successful online. So what does this actually look like? I want to quickly turn to page 16 in your workbook. This is what this might actually look like. Now, over the OPTC, which is our online personal training certification, this is what we run over at PTD Ninja. We teach something called the Assess, Apply, Accelerate approach. Really quite simply, as we start off slow, we assess where the client's at because literally when they come online, you have no idea. They can say what they want on their onboarding forms, but you're not physically there in front of them. So even though they can tell you different things, they are not the experts. You wouldn't go to a GP or a doctor and say, I've got this, and this, and I need to have this, and this. This is my experience beforehand. This is what I've done beforehand. That doctor wouldn't trust you straight away. They would start doing tests to basically qualify what you've just said. Exactly the same principle here. That's what the assess phase is. During that time, we start assessing stuff, and then whatever we've assessed, we start introducing the application of it. So once we've assessed it, we start applying the basics around that to see if it is actually true. And as that starts to develop over time, they build those foundations in place in the apply phase, and then we're going to accelerate, which is where we double down on the stuff that we know is working for them, and we accelerate it faster throughout the program. And it's normally in this last phase down here where the clients get the most results. But the advantage of this kind of program is it stops all the overwhelm. it makes it a lot easier. You get better client retention, you get better client results, you get better adherence, and it's a lot less work for the coach as well. It's a really, really good way of actually approaching things. So what we need to do is just ask yourself now is like, how can you apply the assess, apply, accelerate to your online programs? Are you currently giving people too much information at the start, or do you have something like this in place already where you slowly drip feed it over time and then help them take action on different things? If you're not sure how to do this, as I mentioned before, make sure you stick around to the end, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can go do that and apply it to your business as well. So just to give you a bit of an idea of what this actually looks like in an online program, here's an example of an online program following this approach. It's a very basic one, just using some basic nutrition leading into calorie counting and some basic workouts in there as well. So if you turn to page 18 and 19 in your workbook, you'll see a blank version of this. Feel free just to write in some different bits into this if you want to about how it could relate to your program. This is just going to be used as a 12-week example. You can use whatever length you want to. It's just here to give you an example. So week one, we start off really simple. I'm going to include an onboarding call. I'm going to talk about what these calls are in just a moment. Whether you shouldn't use them or not, you don't have to, but it's there if you want to. So we've got the onboarding call. This way, we have some starting stats, starting goals, managing those expectations the first week, maybe a 3-day food diary, and assess the food diary and a couple of changes for them to make at the most and track over that first week. So that's over an entire week. There's not much actually going on in there other than just gathering information from them. At the end of week one, we'll then lead into week two. We'd have a recap call. This is really trying to find out to make sure they're okay with all the onboarding stuff and they know exactly what they need to do. This can be a very quick phone call. The breakfast task, literally focus on breakfast. That's all that's going to be on here. So maybe some go-to breakfast to start with. Look again to be more active and then start giving them their first workouts from here. We're going through some results tracking and we'll do a check-in. Now, the check-in I keep really simple. You'll notice I've kept results tracking and check-in separate. That's because I believe this should be different and we see more success in programs this way. Results tracking is the tracking of the data, where check-in is subjective. It's asking the client how they feel that week went. And I think that's an important thing to remember when it comes to online training. All those things that we do with clients in the gym, where we can kind of have conversations, we can see them, we can see how they felt or how they feel in that particular day. Can't do that online. So we need to find a way to get that information. That's what a check-in does. It asks them how they feel and their week went. Let me give you an example of why that's really important. Let's say if you're just going off the data alone and maybe their goal is weight loss. And let's say they get into like week 4 over here and they're actually losing weight and it looks great. So weight loss is going down, the measurements are going down, progress photos are looking great. And then suddenly in week 5 and week 6, they all go to pot and it starts going the wrong direction. You're thinking, why everything's been going really so well? But the reason it's not gone so well is because, yes, they've got these results and they're following everything, they're adhering to it, but it's been so difficult for them because they have to make lots of sacrifices. And because of that, they can't do it consistently. And that's what these check-ins allow you to identify. It allows you to identify whether they are able to continue doing whatever they're doing consistently. Because sometimes it's better to make things a little bit easier, make it not perfect, but they can do it consistently and then they'll get consistent results. So these check-ins will just be maybe 2-3 simple questions about how they felt the week went, where they feel they can improve on, what went really well. Those kind of things can be asked within those check-in programs. And basically what we do then once we've got those check-ins running is each week we introduce a new task. So we introduce a lunch task, tracking lunch, dinner task, evening meal being tracked. Then we might start to get tracked, going to download MyFitnessPal, for example, or if we're using PT Distinction, use the food diary in there. Get them to have a go at tracking their meals inside there, introducing some new workouts at that stage. And then we can move to the next week where we might have a catch-up call because this is really when we kind of make bigger changes to the workout side of stuff. And we're getting them now. They've had a week of practicing tracking with the app. Again, we're not setting targets yet for them with the app. We're just getting to track their calories because we've already given them targets, portion controls, maybe using hand portions and things like that in the previous part of the program. And then get them used to it. That catch-up call as well, I'm going to talk a bit more about that in a second. It's not just used for seeing if they're doing okay. It's actually used for upselling as well. And then we'll go into tracking the dinner. Then we'll give them some calorie targets for the last phase as well. And basically what this allows you to do, you can see with these phases down here, is the first section is applying everything we learn. Is assessing everything about them. And then as we go through each week, we assess and then we apply what we learn, but then we assess something else, apply what we learn, assess something else, apply what we learn. And that kind of builds up over time. We then start applying even more down here. Everything we learn in the first phase gets applied even more in the second phase. And then down in the third phase, we really double down everything and accelerate that process in order for them to be successful. And I mentioned there around these calls, we have the catch-up call, the roundup call, and the onboarding call and the recap call. Of course, these are here to help support your clients. These are okay if you, especially when you're first starting out, I recommend them. I like to call them the Magic Four because it helps with your client adherence. But also, the main aim of this is to make sure that they stay with you for the long term. I'm going to show you a system in a second that we use, which is all about long-term retention. That's the one that we tend to recommend over in the OPC course, the one we help you set up and everything like that. I'll talk about that in a second. But these calls in here, especially this one here, the catch-up call, this is when you're going to start actually talking about what's going to happen in the future. And even at this point here, you can actually make a sale. You can sell them into the next part of the program, even though they're not finished this yet. So that's the kind of thing you want to be looking at trying to do. Cool. Let's have a look on down this section. Another question is just coming actually, which leads me nicely on to. I think this leads actually it does leads me nice on to what I was about to bring on. So I wasn't sure at the beginning, but I found the clients really love the daily micro check-ins. Like 3 questions about how they feel. It gives me a lot of confidence as a coach who it comes from personal training. Yes, it makes such a big difference. Like micro check-ins and macro check-ins are things that I've talked about a few times and some of the things I put out there. And all this down here is you kind of go through. I'm not going into too much detail here. I've actually got a separate training on this very specific subject. But you can kind of see through here, there's lots of different things they do. And these are all little micro check-ins to try and understand where the client's at. And when you pull all these different things together, it really helps with client adherence. And it gives you a lot of data, both subjectively from the client point of view, but also in terms of their results. And it makes it so much easier to make decisions as a coach. It's a really, really powerful way of doing it. Again, if you're looking at this and thinking that's a lot, Ash, I'm still not entirely sure how to best do this. Stick around to the end. I'll show you how to do it. And then on here, so we have a structure. Now, what about the contents? We have the foundations, the client journey, the type of program, the structure for the program. What do we actually need to go and include in it? Well, again, you may have seen me talk about this before. We follow something called the SMART approach, and I'd like to turn over to page 21 for this one and make life a little bit easier, just to make some notes on this particular thing. So this is called SMART, simple, measurable, accountable, results-driven, and transparent. Every piece of content you put into your program should follow this process. If you do this, you're going to spend a lot less time answering questions for your clients. They're going to stick to the program. They're going to get better results. The adherence is going to be higher. You're going to retain them for longer, and they're going to feel like they're supported, even though you're not actually doing anything. I'm not saying you shouldn't do anything, but this approach here makes it really easy. And this should be every single piece of content you put in. So simple is minimal viable dose. It's the minimum you can give them whilst getting the best possible results. Don't give them more than what they need. It's measurable, so both the client and the program KPIs. What I mean by this is you can measure it. If it gets measured, it gets managed. It's accountable, so you can hold the client accountable to do it daily. So somewhere in there's something you can hold the client accountable to, and that means you can measure it, of course. Results driven, everything should progress towards the goal of the client. If you put something in a program that's not going to directly help them get towards their end results, I would question why it needs to be there. It's like recipe books, for example, are great, but there's no point putting recipe books in for if you're working with vegan clients, have vegan recipe books. There's no point putting stuff in there when it comes to having carnivore eating meat. It's just a waste of resources and time and energy. It's not specific to the client anymore. And there's lots more to do with that in terms of how to have higher class programs and things like that, which we can talk about in other training, but it needs to be results driven. Whatever you put in needs to be results driven. And then transparent. Every step should be ridiculously crystal clear. And there's a really simple way to go and do that. And if you turn to page 23, I'll quickly explain the system, which is the what, why, how, when, and then. So basically, every piece of content you want to put in there, it should be showing the client exactly what they should be doing. Will this actually help the client? How will the client complete this task? When should the client complete this task and what to expect next? And the reason I like this on here is because it means that every single bit of content you put in there is encouraging the client to take action. And again, another thing I would question here is if you're putting something in the program and it's just information, the client's not actioning it, it doesn't need to be there. Because your job as a coach is to help move them from point A to point B, where they don't want to be to where they actually want to be. And if they're not doing anything, then it's not helping them do that. So don't give it them. It's just a waste of time. So what you want to make sure is every bit of content you put in there needs to be something they can take away from it. And your job as a coach is to help them take that away. And we do that by following this process here. So you need to be explaining exactly what they should be doing, briefly why it should help the clients. How are they actually going to complete this task? When should they complete this task? And then what to expect next. They know what's going to happen next. If you do this, you're going to save yourself 99% of the questions, 99% of the hassle, and you're going to keep your clients for longer. Really is that simple. All the data supports that as well. And if you're not sure how to do this, or you feel like you don't have the time to do this with all your content, Stick around to the end. So now we have the foundations, the client journey, the type of program, the structure of the program, the content of the program. So how do we pull all this into one simple system for you to go and use? Well, I did promise I'll show you one. So here we have it here. If you turn over to page 24 of the workbook, this is the super system that we use over at PTD Ninja. And this is based on all the data that we've received over the years from our Done For You service. So it's a lead magnet, a flagship program, a membership, and we use a challenge to help with conversion. So the idea is the lead magnet here would help attract new leads into your business, following that awareness and the conversion phase and thing we talked about earlier. We'll look at that in a second. And then from that, the idea is you'll move them into your flagship program. In your flagship program, you'll then get great results for them and then move them into an ongoing subscription-based membership for the long term. That's where you're going to make the bulk of your actual income. And then down here, we have a challenge. The idea of the challenge is to run it between the lead magnet and the flagship. So let's say, for easy numbers, 100 people sign up to your lead magnet, 50 people sign up to your flagship program, 50 people don't. Of those 50 people, 4 or 5 times a year, you'd offer them a challenge. This is going to be a lot more interactive than what the lead magnet is. The lead magnet is completely hands off. The challenge will be more interactive so they get to know you. I mean, after all, it's personal training, closing the name. You run the challenge with them, and the idea of that is to help convert them into the flagship program as well. This here is the system that we've seen the most success with. You can actually see some of the data as well that we've actually got from our different clients. This is what we charge from the length of them, what seems to work best, and so on from that. And then let's talk about how this actually fits into a working program, a working client journey. So if you turn to page 25, you should be able to see this on here. And this is how it applies to client journey. This is actually an example of one of our OPTC, our online personal trainer certification clients, is actually using today for their business. And each one of these, they have SOPs, which are standard operating procedures for, and they just follow these steps through. Most of these things are actually automated as well. They just make a few tweaks and adaptations for the client, and then obviously they do the social posting, create the content and things like that for them. But a lot of this is actually automated through even software, and we actually can help with setting all these things up too. But down here, you can see we have social posting, and then we have the follow, like, engage, which is a process that they go through. They then have a social engagement system in place, and they do warm outreach with them. The idea is to get them into a social group and get them to follow on the socials. And they do this by getting them to join a lead magnet that's very specific and sorted to their niche. And that's one thing I haven't talked too much about, but it's an important thing to mention. The most successful online fitness business, without a shadow of a doubt, have a niche. Without a shadow of a doubt. And if you don't have a niche, expect to spend a lot of time and money over a long, long period of time to get anywhere near to being successful. Like, you have to throw a ridiculous amount of money into it these days. It's not like it used to be beforehand. If you really want to stand out and you want to do this relatively quickly, you need to have a niche to go and do it. But the lead magnet here is very specific to their niche and solving the problem that they solve for that particular niche. And then they have the flagship as their main purchase up here. This is the convert stage. Over here, they'll purchase the flagship and they'll book an onboarding call. Anybody that doesn't purchase the flagship here will get offered the challenge. They do this 5 times a year. That helps convert a few more into the flagship program. They go through this process from here. In the excite phase, they have SOPs and things in place for the onboarding process. Again, with the onboarding call that's in there, they do the check-ins and they have the roundup call as well. Again, all these are automated apart from the calls. It's a future pacing based program. So it has those different calls that we talked about, and it starts setting up the idea that they're going to move on to something else towards the end. And it's a smart program. It follows that smart process that we talked about earlier on. They use a 12-week program. They then go on to the invest stage where they're going to invest even more. This is where they go into the membership. So this is they purchase the membership. It's a membership subscription. It's community focused. Again, it has similar things here on onboarding, processing call, check-ins and roundups. And then it also has goal stages, and it has a smart program. So what I mean by goal stages, again, something we talk about in the course, is if you're doing a subscription-based membership, there's always going to be certain points where their goals are going to change. It's about being able to identify them and then make sure you can tackle those changes in goals. There is a way to go and do that using check-ins. I'm not going into too much detail about that here, but there is a way to do it. And we talk about that in the course. Over this side here, we then go on to asking for testimonials, reviews, using those for awareness. All that process is automated in their case. And then we have affiliate programs for them. These offers out to selected clients, and he also actually then takes those clients to some events. So they run a couple of events each time a year, and they bring them in to help build that community up. So actually live events. So even though they have clients all over the world and it's online, they still get offered to come together. It might be like a Christmas party or something like that, but they have a couple of events a year as well that they run. And that's it. That's the simple process that they actually go through now. The only thing that's going to be changing soon is they're going to introduce paid advertising to it over the next few months, where they're going to have paid advertising in the awareness and paid advertising in the engagement section. That's literally the difference they're going to put in. Now their business has grown to the level that it's at. Cool. And again, if you're not sure how to do this, as I mentioned already, stick around to the end. It'll literally be in five minutes. I'll tell you, I'll not take you too much longer. I promise you from that. So I appreciate you sticking around. The last thing I want to talk about here, I'm not going into too much detail because this is a big subject. But we have the foundations, we have the client journey, we have the type of program, we have the structure of the program, the content of the program, the best system to use, and how now do you price all that. So to make it easier, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it here because I put a really cool calculator together that breaks everything down that we've talked about. And you can find that calculator by going to onlinepersonaltrainingscertification.com/online-pricing. If you head over to that, links also in the workbook, it will allow you to put all the information together that we talked about today, put it into that calculator, and it'll give you some recommended prices. Just bear in mind, these are just recommended. Doesn't mean you have to go and do it. Doesn't mean you're going to not make enough money or make too little money or whatever it is. It's just something to get started with to help you understand how to price all this stuff and put it all together. It's a big subject to get into. Much easier when you're working kind of one-to-one with each other, but this calculator should really help you go into that. So if you're struggling with it, make sure you head over to it. It's completely free. There's no email you have to put in or anything like that. Just go to the page and then put your details in, your cost price and things like that, and it'll pump out the best prices for you to use. It even talks about how it's actually working it all out for you and everything like that. So we have the foundations, the client journey, the type of program, the structure of the program, the content of the program, the best system to use. Hopefully you'll have the price soon when you use that pricing calculator. Is there anything else you need to thrive as an online personal trainer? Well, I can actually share with you what all the successful OPTC, online personal training certification, and done for you clients do. And that are these things. These are the extra things that we haven't really talked about too much here, but I think are important to understand. Is all the business owners, they know their business KPIs. They know the key things they actually need in order to be successful, and they monitor it and track those. They play to their strengths, so they know where they're actually strong at, what areas they're actually strong with, and they play to those within their business. And then they outsource and delegate their weaknesses. Literally, without a doubt, all the most successful ones we see tend to go and do that. And then they also know the end goal and why it's actually important to them. And most importantly, they get things done. They don't procrastinate. Also, they know the end goal. They know what they need to go and do. They know where the weaknesses are so they can outsource them. They know where their strengths are and they play to those. They're tracking their data so they can see exactly what the process is. And then they just get it done. Interestingly, how well this matches to what you do with your clients, isn't it? Exactly the same kind of process that they go through. And if you don't know how to do all of this and you need help, well, we are at the end now. As I promised, we're going to be 5 minutes away. So I do have something for you to go and take a look. And I mentioned it a couple of times through this. So I'm going to quickly go through it now. And this is the OPTC. This is our online personal training certification. And this really is, and to give you an idea, it's not just a certification, but it's everything you need as a personal trainer who wants to build and launch and grow a successful online personal training. And we've done a massive update to this recently, huge update. And it's not how it used to be. This used to be just a standard course. This really now is a lot more than that. It is a product, it's a system, and it's a coaching program all rolled into one. So I'm going to just quickly take you through each one of those and just tell you a little bit about it, if I may. If you've got any questions as I go through, do ask us. So first thing, the product itself. The product is actually a course that helps you set up your business system. So everything we've talked about there will help you actually set it all up. Helps you find leads that actually want to work with you. Helps you make sales that don't feel forced or uncomfortable. It helps with delivering an online program that actually gets results. It helps you set up coaching online that only takes minutes, not hours each week. And it helps you transfer your in-person, face-to-face skills into an online environment because they are different skills that you need, and you need to look at how you can actually go and apply them. And so how does all this course thing here, how does that actually help you build, launch, and grow a successful online fitness business? So the course itself is split into 8 key fundamentals. So we have fundamental 1, you, the business owner. Goals and planning, fundamental 2, your business finances. Fundamental 3. Fundamental 4 is your operational systems and processes. Fundamental 5 is your team. Fundamental 6 is the brand. Fundamental 7 is your sales and marketing systems. Fundamental 8 is your client experience. Taking everything we've covered today and breaking it all down into actionable steps. And we do that by splitting these steps up within the course. You can see some of that course area on some of the screenshots here. So the first area, we talk about the fundamentals and break it down for you. Once you finish that stage, you move to the next step, which is going to be about the build. So we actually help you build all this out too, not just the sales and marketing systems, but the actual programs, things you're going to deliver. Everything you need systems-wise in your business, we help you go and do this. And the beauty about this as well is we take you through everything. We give you everything to go and do, which I'll talk about in just a moment. Everything laid out step by step for you. Next thing we have on here, head back to it, is behind the scenes. We talk about what goes off behind the scenes in your business and how to make sure that's running smoothly. So you wake up every day knowing exactly what it is you need to do in order to be successful. And then we're going to move on to stage 4, which is actually how to coach online. So we take you through everything, show you exactly what you have to do in order to deliver your services online. What are the differences between coaching in person, face-to-face, and online? How to do that effectively and safely. That's what we do in this section. Before moving on finally to the certification, this is actually a certification. You can use this towards your CPD points if you want to as well. And this works in 2 different ways. There's a workbook you have to go through, and there's an exam at the end. You don't have to do certification. This is all lifetime access. Take as much time as you want to do it, or you don't have to do certification at all. You can just go through the course. The beauty of certification is that you get to have a little badge you can put on your social media, your emails, and things like that. You get your certificate through. Most mentioned, use it for your CPD points. But also, the beauty about this one is not just a certification where you go away and you do this and that's it, you put it to one side. In order to pass it, you actually have to start growing your business. So part of the workbook is you collect evidence as you go through this process. So when we go through the sections around lead generation, you actually have to prove that you've found leads. When you actually talk about how to make sales and coach your clients, you actually have to make sales. So unless you're actually growing a successful online fitness business, you can't pass this certification. That's the way we've actually designed it, is to ensure that what you're doing is actually going to help your business. So then we on to the next bit, which is the build. So we've promised to help you build, launch, and grow a successful online fitness business. We help you build this all out, not just by showing you how to do it, but we give you one of the largest white label libraries available for personal trainers ever that actually exists. So this includes marketing resources, lead magnets, social media templates, sales scripts and swipe files, coaching resources, workout programs, nutritional coaching programs, habit coaching programs, and some recipe books in there as well. They're all there for you to use in one place that you can drop straight into your account if you're using things like PT Distinction, or if you're using Canva, which is what I'm going to bring on now. Is all this are available in 2 different areas. One is Canva, which if you've never used it before is amazing, completely free. So you can edit, adapt it, and adjust all these different resources however you want to add your own branding, everything else like that. But also, as many of you know, this is PTD Ninja. So the idea of PT Ninja is we have a done for you service for PT Distinction. So everything we have is also available in PT Distinction as well, to literally plug and play into your account. You have a huge white label library you can drop straight in. And not only that, if you are using PT Distinction, it's not just about giving you the white label content. The systems are pre-built as well. So you can literally, within 5 minutes in your PT Distinction account, have a lead magnet, a challenge, a 12-week flagship program, and a 12-month-long membership program pre-built out that runs completely automatically. You can then tweak and adapt to just for each individual client. Everything done within literally 5 minutes in your account if you wanted to. And that's how we kind of set us up with PT Distinction. That's all the tracking, all the upsells, the downsells, the content itself, the coaching content, the workouts, the integrations, everything is all in there ready for you to go in there. And what we help you set up is the PT Ninja super system. And we do that. Basically, the system we talked about earlier on is what we're going to help you set up. So everything you see here on the screen now is going to be covered within the course and with some of our white label content as well. So all the stuff you see on here will help you set up and do and put SOPs together for it as part of the course. And then this is exactly what we'll set up as well for your online fitness business. The lead magnet, the flagship, the membership, the challenge. Again, that includes all the content for all parts of the super system with multiple variations for each. We're very much aware that there's not just one way to do this. So we actually have lots of different versions of this. And the whole idea of this is to give you this to start off with, so you can start getting feedback and then tweak and adapt it. And we'll even help you and support you tweak and adapt it to suit your business as well. It's the whole idea of this. It's also designed to integrate directly into your existing websites, maybe all-in-one software, funnel builders, and we even have training on helping you how to do that as well. integrate with your payment systems and get them all integrated. We have training on showing you how to do that as well. Branding the app, and if you're using PT Distinction, the beauty about this is if you are using PT Distinction, the course itself has sections in there about how to apply this and everything we do directly into using PT Distinction, step by step. So if you're unsure about how to use that software, make the most of it, it will literally take you through it step by step, and you'll understand everything you need to know in order to be successful with that particular software. Again, all built into it and ready to go. Then, on top of the course that you've got access to, on top of the white label library, again, that you have lifetime access to, you then have the coaching program in here. And we do that through the academy. And we're going to give you 90 days access to our academy, which is our premium support service. So with this, you get 24-hour response to questions in our private support group. You get weekly trainings to help you adapt the systems to your business, again, within that support group. You have monthly goal setting with our coaches, and you get weekly check-ins as well through that group. On top of that, we have our hybrid group coaching sessions. So these are live weekly Zoom sessions that you can jump on, have a chat with myself, Jed, and the rest of the team. We have hot seats in there where you can come on and talk about your particular business and what you're working on, and we can help you and support you in that particular area. Or you can just come on and join the conversation, have a cup of tea, cup of coffee with us, whatever it is you want to. And these are small group coaching sessions with other coaches as well that are in there. On top of that, we also give you access to our one-to-one support calls, where you get access to one-to-one support calls from myself and the rest of the team, and you can request support calls whenever you need them. Again, this is part of the academy. Then we have on top of that a private support desk, where if you don't want to use the community groups to get support, and maybe you don't really need to have a call at this stage, but you just want something answered that's specific to your program or your setup or whatever it is, you get 24-hour responses to a private one-to-one help desk as well, as part of the academy. Now, once the academy is done after 90 days, we don't just leave you hanging. You get lifetime support from us. So you get lifetime support, you get lifetime access to the course, and you get lifetime access to our white label library as well in there. And the lifetime support comes through our Fit Pro Launchpad group, where we get weekly trainings. You get live coffee mornings, which are live Zoom sessions that we run out each week on there, talking about whatever it is you need help and support with. And you get access to the PT Ninja team and OPTC team through that group as well. So lots of cool things included with that program. So now what happens, if you've watched this, you've gone through it all, and I've talked a little bit there about the OPTC. What can you do next with it all? Well, I want to talk a little bit about what it is you get and what you can do next if you want to. So I would love for you to come and join us. I'd love for you to come in and enroll. You can enroll today. The course is enrollment's always open, so you can start whenever you want to. You'll get access to the academy immediately, so you get support straight away. We'll get you booked in for your orientation call. So you're booking for a call with me directly, and we'll put a strategy together for your business. We'll get that booked in as soon as you actually sign up. You can start the OPC course straight away, working your way through it all. Even if you just give yourself half an hour a day to do this, it will start progressing your business forward. Remember, this is not just about you learning, it's about taking action. So even though you're going through the course, you will actually start taking action. You'll start making money and income from that as you go through it all. Then we're going to get you scheduled in for your first group hybrid session as well. And of course, you're going to build, launch, and grow your own successful online fitness business. So you're going to get access to all 21 course modules. And this has actually been valued by, quite a few different people at the moment, of nearly 3,000. So nearly 2,997, which obviously we're not going to charge you that for it at all. The white label library is worth at least 1,997. Again, we're not going to charge you that for it at all. And the Academy coaching course with lifetime support has been valued before like 4,997. Again, we're not going to charge you anything like that at all for this. So if you are interested in actually enrolling, you can literally do that right now for paying in full, 997. It's a one-off payment, 3 months access to the Academy, but lifetime access to the course, the lifetime support, to the white label library, and that includes any updates that we make. And also, you can pay it for in installments as well. And you can pay 3 installments of 397 by going through there. And here's the beautiful thing about it: we also have a double your investment back guarantee as well, where if you don't double your investment back within 90 days, so if you're going to make double what you pay today in 90 days, I'll actually work with you one-on-one until you do. Literally one-on-one until you do. That's how confident we are in these systems in here and what it is we actually have on offer. So if you're interested in this, what you got to do is head over to onlinepersonaltrainingcertification.com or click on any of the links that I put into the comments as well below. And you can check it out, take a look at exactly what's involved with that one. Cool. Has anyone got any questions before we go? As I said, I'll have time for a bit of an FAQ at the end. Yeah, there is. So someone was asking about can all this stuff here, do you have to set all that stuff up yourself? If you use the course, yes. We do have a done for you service that I mentioned a couple of times on there. So if I talk a little bit about the done for you, basically what we can do, you can pay a little bit extra on top. So it works out at 497 extra on top of it. And what that allows you to do is we will set it all up for you. So we'll literally go into your accounts, do all the branding, do all the integrations, add stuff to your website stuff, your sales pages, everything like that will be taken care of. And it's all done. And again, you get access to the course and everything else that I've talked about on there as well. Cool. Anyone else got any other questions? Anything not sure about? Anything want to go through? We've gone through the training or through the workbook. Just let us know in the comments. If not, I believe that is it from me. So let me bring it back onto the main screen so I can see everybody. Because I don't like just not being seen by people on there. Been talking away all this time. Cool. So I'll put the overlay back on. I'll show you do this one. There we go. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I know it's been on a bit of a long session, a bit of a long workshop. Give people a bit of time to turn up at the start. So I appreciate you hanging around and getting involved. Again, if you're interested in finding out more about the online personal training certification or anything we do over at PTD Ninja, I'll put the links for everything into the comments below so you can see it. If you've gone through this and you've enjoyed the session, hopefully you found the workbook helpful and useful. I recommend you go back and go through some of these things again. I will be in touch and send you through a recording of this so you can go back through it all. And hopefully you've taken away some things from this today that are really going to help and support you and take that business to that next level and kind of see all the different elements that are involved with it all. Not a problem, Mark. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So yeah, if anyone's watching this on a replay, by the way, just make sure you say hi, put replay in there to let us know. And even if you have got any questions whilst you watch it on the replay, just drop them into the comments and I'll be able to pick them up too. But that's it from me. Thank you so much, everyone that's been hanging around and been listening. I appreciate it and appreciate you all and enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.